Hey there, welcome back to the deep dive. Looks like we're diving into the world of enterprise AI this time. You've sent us a ton of reports and articles on this. Someone's got big plans. What's interesting is you've also included a bunch of stuff about Notebook LM.
It seems like our listeners trying to figure out why AI hasn't really taken over the business world yet, despite all the hype. And maybe, just maybe, could Notebook LM be the answer?
Okay, well, let's see. We've got big reports like the IBM Global AI Adoption Index, the McKinsey Global AI Survey. We've got deep dives on ethics in the AI Index report for 2024, some Mozilla Foundation research in there too. And we've even got some, well, I guess you could call them anxieties, straight from social media. Where do we even start?
I think the thing that stands out immediately from all of this is just the sheer lack of in-house AI expertise. It's a huge roadblock. Both the IBM report and the AI Daily Brief, they both emphasize that. It's almost like companies have brought home this super-powered car, but they have no idea how to drive it.
And it's not just about hiring a data scientist, is it? Like you said, it's more than that.
Oh, for sure. It's a whole different breed of talent we're talking about here, right? You got your AI product managers, your prompt engineers. You even need AI-savvy legal teams just to navigate all the regulations, which, by the way, seem to change every other day. The AI Index report, they use this interesting term, AI fluency. They say it's going to be critical for the workforce going forward.
AI fluency. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But all of this sounds really expensive. And I'm not surprised the McKinsey report found that a lot of companies are still on the fence about whether AI is worth the investment or not.
Yeah, everyone wants to see that return on investment, right? Show me the money. Companies need to see those results, those concrete benefits, not just promises. The AI Index report actually mentions that even though reducing costs is a big reason why companies adopt AI, most of them are not really measuring how it affects their bottom line.
So it's like buying a fancy new coffee machine because you think it'll make you more productive. But then you realize you don't even know how to use half the functions.
Exactly. You're stuck with your old drip coffee maker. You bring up a good point, though. This lack of tangible, measurable benefits definitely feeds into that hesitation. The AI Daily Brief actually had this really interesting case study about GPT-4 being used in legal analysis. And get this, it actually sped things up and made them more accurate, which obviously helped with their bottom line.
Okay, so we've got expertise, or the lack of it, I should say, and ROI as major hurdles. What else is stopping businesses from just going all in on AI?
Data, the challenges that come with data. The AI Index report called it data exhaustion, which I thought was interesting. Basically, the AI models that we have today need a ton of data, and it has to be high quality. Imagine trying to bake a cake with stale flour or something.
That's not a good cake. So are we running out of data? What does data exhaustion even mean?
Not really running out, but AI needs so much of it, and it has to be good quality, has to be accessible. And of course, then you have the ethical stuff, especially for companies that work with sensitive data. It's not a simple problem.
Yeah, the Mozilla Foundation research on those AI chatbots that really highlighted the privacy concerns that come with data collection. And then you've got the whole AI bias issue, which is a minefield in and of itself.
Definitely. And that actually brings us to another big barrier, the black box problem. A lot of these reports are pushing for responsible AI, especially the AI Index report. Companies don't want to use AI to make important decisions if they don't understand how it's making those decisions. It's like using a GPS without a map. You're just blindly trusting that it's going to take you to the right place.
And that's a lot of trust to put in something you don't fully understand, especially with all the research coming out about bias in AI.
Exactly. Transparency is essential. If you lose that, you lose trust, and adoption is going to suffer.
All right, so we've got the expertise gap, questions about ROI, data issues, and this whole black box dilemma. Am I missing anything? I'm already feeling a little overwhelmed.
One more thing, integration. And this one's big, often underestimated.
So trying to put a square peg in a round hole, but with technology.
Exactly. The AI Daily Brief was talking about how many businesses are having trouble integrating new AI tools into the systems they already have. Let's be honest, a lot of businesses are working with outdated tech. It's not like you can just plug in AI and everything works perfectly, right? It's like trying to teach an old dog a new trick.
It's not as easy as just clicking install.
You would hope. But it's really about thinking about how to incorporate this new technology into how your company already works. It takes strategic planning. You need to really understand the technology and, what the business actually needs, and patience. Don't forget patience.
Okay, so to recap, we've got our 5 big challenges: expertise, ROI, data, the black box, and integration. It's no wonder companies are hesitant to jump on the AI bandwagon, but Hold on. Didn't you say that our listener might have found a way to solve these challenges? Something about Notebook LM.
Right, Notebook LM, and this is where things get really interesting.
Don't leave me hanging. Tell me more. I would say this is where things get really interesting.
So from what I'm seeing, Notebook LM is positioning itself as, well, the AI whisperer, I guess you could say. It's supposed to help businesses overcome all these challenges we've been talking about.
I am intrigued. Let's break down how Notebook LM tackles each of these challenges, starting with the expertise gap.
So at that expertise gap, imagine this Notebook LM. It's like your resident AI expert right there to help you even if you're not really a tech person. A lot of sources talk about how user-friendly the design is.
Okay, but are we really talking about replacing human expertise completely?
Yeah.
I'm not sure companies are going to be on board with that.
That's a really important point. It's not about replacing humans. It's more like we're trying to close that gap. Think of it like having a really experienced Sherpa guiding you up Mount Everest. You still need the skills to climb the mountain, right? But having a guide definitely increases your chances of actually reaching the summit.
I like that analogy. But even with the best guide, you still need to know that the climb is going to be worth it in the end. How does Notebook LM deal with those ROI concerns that businesses have?
Remember that McKinsey report we talked about, the one that said businesses need to see actual results? Well, it looks like Notebook LM is designed to do exactly that. The details are a little bit thin in the stuff you sent, but they definitely seem to be focused on tracking and measuring how AI is actually impacting business.
So no more relying on what-ifs, and maybe it'll work out later.
Seems like it. From what I'm seeing, Notebook LM is all about proving that it's worth the investment. And remember that legal case study with GPT-4 we were talking about earlier? Imagine showing that kind of success to your CEO. It's hard to argue with evidence like that AI isn't just a money pit, it can actually make you money.
Speaking of gold mines, let's talk data. We got scarcity, we got privacy concerns, it's a whole thing. How does Notebook LM handle all of that?
Carefully, I would imagine. But seriously, the fact that they're focused on responsible AI is a good sign. And remember when we were talking about the AI index report and synthetic data augmentation? That seems relevant here.
Remind me what that is again.
So basically, it's about using synthetic data to add to the real data you already have. And synthetic data is basically artificially generated data that's designed to look like real data patterns. It's kind of like creating a virtual training ground for your AI. It can learn and improve without using actual user data.
Okay, so this is like giving your AI a test run using a simulation before you set it loose on the real world.
Exactly. This could be a way to deal with data scarcity, and it might even help with some of those privacy concerns. Of course, there are still some ethical questions about using synthetic data, but it's something to think about.
For sure. Now let's address the big question mark in the room. How does Notebook LM plan to make AI less of a mystery? How do we get rid of that black box?
It seems like transparency is a core part of their design. It's like we were talking about earlier with the explainable AI from the AI index report. If Notebook LM can actually show users how it's making decisions and why, that would be huge.
It all comes down to trust, right?
100%. You're more likely to trust a decision if you understand how it was made. It's like the difference between following GPS directions blindly and actually having a map that shows you the route and all the landmarks along the way.
I get it. But even with all of that, we still haven't figured out the integration problem. Can Notebook LM actually work with existing systems? Or are we talking about a massive IT overhaul that's going to cost a fortune?
That is the million-dollar question. And unfortunately, the information you sent doesn't really go into much detail about how Notebook LM integrates with existing systems.
So we're left hanging.
Maybe a little.
Very correct.
But we can look at what these reports say about successful AI integration in general. Remember that AI Daily Brief article on AI enablement? They said it's all about making sure that your AI tools are actually aligned with what your business needs and creating a culture where people are open to trying new things.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about making sure that your company is ready to embrace AI.
Exactly. And that's not something Notebook LM can do on its own. It takes a change in mindset. Companies need to be willing to do things differently, and they need to be committed to using AI responsibly.
So it's a partnership between the technology and the humans using it.
Exactly. But for that partnership to work, Notebook LM has to hold up its end of the bargain. It needs to integrate seamlessly with what businesses are already using. It needs to provide value that companies can actually measure, and it needs to empower users, not scare them away.
Okay, so we still don't have a definitive answer about the integration issue. But let's say for the sake of argument that Notebook LM manages to figure it out. They've created a user-friendly AI that integrates seamlessly and delivers real results. Then what?
Then we might be looking at the birth of a true killer app for the enterprise.
Killer app. Now there's a term I haven't heard in a while. What makes you think Notebook LM could be the one?
It's a combination of things. Think about it. There's a lot going on in the business world right now. There's pressure to innovate, competition is fierce, and there's a huge skills gap. It's like everyone's trying to ride this AI wave, but a lot of them are going to end up wiping out.
And then along comes Notebook LM like a life raft. It's a tool that could make AI accessible to everyone, not just big companies with tons of resources.
Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here. But we've seen this before, right? AI tools that promise the world and then fail to deliver.
Mhm.
How is Notebook LM different? Why should businesses believe the hype this time?
That is the billion-dollar question. The answer might be in how Notebook LM approaches the human side of AI adoption. It's not just about building a powerful tool, it's about building a tool that people actually want to use. A tool that feels helpful, not intimidating.
So it's about more than just ones and zeros.
Absolutely. It's about understanding how businesses feel about all of this, the anxieties, the hopes, the very real problems they're facing as technology changes faster and faster. If Notebook LM can find that sweet spot between human intuition and AI, then maybe, just maybe, it will become the killer app they're hoping for. This has been incredibly insightful, but before we go too far down the rabbit hole, let's bring it back to our listener. They've obviously been doing their research on this. What are the key takeaways here? What should they be thinking about as they try to figure out if Notebook LM is the right fit for their business? So where does all of this leave us? Our listeners clearly plugged into the AI world trying to figure out if Notebook LM is the real deal or just another overhyped piece of tech.
I think the big takeaway is that Notebook LM isn't just about the technology itself. It's about tackling those human factors that have been holding AI back.
We were so busy building a better AI mousetrap that we forgot someone has to actually use it.
Exactly, and Notebook LM seems to get that. To really get people to use AI, you have to make these tools easy to use, easy to understand, maybe even enjoyable.
So less like trying to operate a complicated machine and more like a partnership between humans and AI.
Exactly. I like that. Imagine a world where AI isn't something that people are afraid of or something that only the tech people handle. What if everyone in a company could use AI?
Now that's a future I can get behind. But let's be realistic for a second. What are some specific questions our listeners should be asking to see if Notebook LM lives up to the hype?
They need to look past all the marketing jargon and really dig into the details. How does Notebook LM actually address their specific needs and challenges?
It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right. They should be asking about things like integration capabilities, data security, and how much support they'll get. Remember, even the most user-friendly tools still require some training and support.
Especially with AI changing so quickly. You need a partner who's going to be there for the long haul, not just someone who disappears after the sale.
Exactly. And never underestimate the power of trying things out for yourself. Don't just take their word for it. Test it out. See how it works.
Pilot programs, case studies, real-world testing, all of that is crucial.
And lastly, tell your listener to keep the big picture in mind.
This is just the beginning of the AI revolution.
This isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And tools like Notebook LM are just the starting line. The important thing is to stay curious, keep experimenting, and be ready to adapt.
Always learning, always evolving. I like that. That's a good motto for the AI age.
Yeah.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today, don't you think? We've talked about the challenges, the potential solutions, and even dared to imagine what the future of AI could look like.
It's been an exciting deep dive, for sure.
To our listener, we say this. Embrace the challenge, explore the possibilities, and don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. The future of AI is being written right now, and you have the opportunity to help shape it. Until next time, happy diving.